Hello world, we are surrounded with millions of websites over internet for making our each day and each work fast and secure and valuable. Have you wondered from where those websites comes into the internet? Yes, those websites are hosted by the individual or the companies to the web server, which runs 24 by 7, giving us the services in form of website and web apps. Hosting website on internet is also known as web hosting. And today we are going to learn how to host a website on internet using Vercel hosting platform. So without any further delay, let's dive into this. Hope we are ready with the Django application which needs to be deployed over the Vercel hosting platform. So before we host this Django application over the Vercel, we require the Vercel account. To make the Vercel account, what we need to do, we gonna open vercel.com, which is the website where we gonna host this Django application. If you do not have the already created Vercel account, you can make sign up, and once you make sign up, when you make a login, you will redirect it to this dashboard page. As you can see over here, I have already hosted a website. So let me now tell you how to host the another one. In detail of this each and every menus and each and every option we will discuss further section. So once we have created the Vercel account, now our first job is to customize our Django application which is compatible with the Vercel platform. Before we deploy Django application over the Vercel, we requires to make some of the changes which makes Django application compatible to the Vercel platform. So for this, we need to open the Django application settings or the directory. So let me tell you one by one all the changes required to make the development successful. So at first, I have made some of the snippets, so it will save our time to write each and every details. We will share this snippet details over the description. At the first, we need to open the WSGI file. So go to the Django settings folder. Inside the settings folder, we will find this file which is WSGI. We need to open this file. As from the reference of snippet, we need to add this line over here. So the reason for doing this is that WSGI file will look into this application keyword while hosting the application in other domain. But Vercel is a JavaScript based platform, so it do not understand or do not look for the application keyword. It look for the app keyword which is required. Hence we have referenced the application detail to this app variable. This is done from this WSGI files. The next change would be the allowed host. So for this, we need to open the settings.py. So again in the same directory, we will find the settings.py. Let's open this. And over here, you can see that allowed host equals to star, which says any domain will be allowed to access this website or this Django application. Now we define that .vercel.app or .now.sh are only the domain which have access to this Django application. Our second step also gets completed. Now the third one, which is static and media URL. We have to copy this. At the bottom, you will find the static URL over this place. So you have to copy paste the entire thing over here. The static URL is the same which is already present. What is static root? Equals to base directory plus static build file and static. What is static build? It is nothing, just the another directory in the base directory. Base directory is root directory of this entire Django application. So what it says, in the base directory we will also have another folder called static files underscore build, which will lie somewhere here when we run the collect static command. What it does, it will collect all the static file which include CSS, JavaScript and images, whatever the other things. Inside this directory, we will get another directory called static, and inside this static, all the static file will be put together. Media URL Again, this media root is a base directory. Inside this root directory, create with the another directory which is media, and inside this media we will having the all the static files in terms of images and videos inside this directory. So this point has been done. Let's move to the next point. Next point is HTTPS settings. It's not that mandatory, but it is required just to make your Django application more secure. It is nothing, just the protocol adding a additional layer of security to your Django application. Now in the URL, it will call the domain or HTTP protocol as HTTPS, a secure HTTP protocol, instead of HTTP only, for making your domain looks like HTTPS:/ and your domain name. So providing the HTTPS security, this code is responsible for it. The next section is to create the build.sh file. What it is, we'll discuss in a minute. So what we need to do, we have to go to the root directory and create a new file with the same name as build_files.sh. Do not forget to add in your repo, so it will get pushed on your repository. What build_file.sh includes? This file having the commands of your Django application, kind of installing the requirements, collecting the static files, and making the migrations. This command we generally run in the Django terminals. So build_files.sh will run this Django commands over the Vercel deployment server, which will help you to create the static file, install all the requirements, and creating the tables in the database. Now the question arises, from where this file gets called? The answer lies in the next step, which is to create another file called vercel.json. So we'll copy the same name, vercel.json. Again, in the parent directory, we will create another file called vercel.json. Now the content inside the vercel.json is this. You do not have to worry about anything. You just need to copy paste entire details, and whatever the required changes is needed, I will let you know. At the entire commands, we have the source file, a source keyword inside this JSON object. Here, as I already mentioned as a comment, that your project name inside which WSGI file exists, your Django project directory. For me, my WSGI file exists inside this folder or this directory, so I will copy this name and will replace with this. We'll paste it over here. So now the source file will be the Django project and the WSGI file, which will help the Vercel to understand where the entire settings and gateway interface of the Django application resides. Now leave it as it is, config, leave it as it is. Now this another source file. So here we have defined the build_file.sh, which is nothing, just the Django command line terminals, which we expect to run over the Django deployment server at the time of deployment. Next is directory. We have defined over static_build. I suppose you remember where we have seen it earlier, right over here in the static build directories. So inside the base folder, the static_build directory will create, and inside that directory another directory called static will get created, and all the static file, which is CSS, JavaScript, all these static images will get stored inside this, which is related to the front end, and leave all the setting as it is. And the same thing what we did over here needs to be done over here, and good luck, we are done with. So we have completed vercel.json change. Now the next step would be the last step. I suppose you already have installed whatever the requirements library needed to run your Django application hassle free and error free. So now the last thing need to create the requirement file. which can be installed over the Vercel environment. For making it, we need to go to the parent directory and open this directory in a terminal, and I suppose your virtual environment is already active. You just need to write pip freeze and requirements.txt. Once you run, and it will create file called requirement.txt. It will list out all the requirement dependency of your Django project, and this library will get installed over the Vercel environment to make your Django application run hassle-free. So this was the changes we were expecting to have before we proceed to the deployment of Django application to the Vercel environment. Now what we need to do, we need to push all these things to your master branch or to your repository. You can do either by command line, GUI option over here. If you want, you can do with the command line, which would be, you can see the changes at git status. So these are the changes. So let git add all of the file to the staging area. Now let's commit. Let's Vercel deployment. So it seems all has been moved to the staging area. These files are ready to be pushed. So write git push origin master or the respective branch you are interested to make it push. So it will take few seconds, and yes, it has been pushed. Now it's time to configure the database. So currently I was using my own local database, but now for the development we'll use the database from the Railway app. So you can type railway.app, and the same process goes on with this. If you do not have the account, you have to create the account, and I already have the account. So once you make sign up and you make login, you will redirect you to this dashboard page. So dashboard looks like this. Click over here as a new project. We require the database. So when we click on that Postgres, it start running some of the setup files, and it initiate the database to be used from our Django application. So it might require few minutes, so just keep on hold. And I guess yes, it has been created. When you click on this icon or the card, you can go over here, connect, and once you scroll, you can see all the details over here, like database URL, these information, password, host and port. So database has been configured. For those who are planning to have the database URL can go with this, and those who is not using the database URL, they are configuring the database based on database name, host, password and port. They can directly copy these information. Apart from this database URL, you can copy these two. Let me show you how to configure this. Copy the database, go in the PyCharm. I will replace with this name. This is my database name would be. Copy this host and replace with this host. Copy the password, replace with your respective password. Port, you can make a new key as port and place the port over here, and the user. Okay, so we have done little mistake. We need to paste the user over here, and the host will be placed over here. Yes, so we are done with the configuration. Now we need to push these changes again db config, and let me push using the GUI. So it seems we are done with all the changes required to do in the Django application. So once we are done with all these changes, we are ready to deploy our Django application over the Vercel hosting platform. So before moving to that part, let's recap all the changes what we made in our Django application. So let's begin from the first. Inside the WSGI, we added an additional line which is app equals to application. Then we make changes in the settings file which is allowed host. So we changes allowed host to the .vercel.app. You can add additional domain also as per your requirement. Then third would be static URL and media URL. So we added static URL and media URL over here. Do not forget to add this additional line for media and static URL path in this URL pattern. If we have missed out these things, you can add over here, which is URL, media path, document root, and the settings.media root, which is this path, and static root, which is this path. I already did. I will keep it in this snippet so it will be helpful for you. So do not forget to add this thing inside your URL. For URL, do not forget to import this thing, these two things from Django conf URL. It will help you to import this function, and from django.conf it will help you out to import settings. So this was it from this section. In the next, we have created build_file.sh. Then we have created the JSON file for the Vercel. Next is the requirement file. Do not forget to create the requirement.txt and do include this in your repo. So we have recapped all the changes what we did, and we have pushed everything in our repository. Now it's time to deploy over the Vercel, and over here you will find project. Click on this project. So when you push your Django application to your GitHub repository, make sure that you use the same repository over here. In my case, I have this repository linked with this my GitHub account. So I will click on import. Vercel will fetch all the repository linked to a GitHub account. So in my case, I have two repository, which is Django block and password manager linked to this GitHub account. So once you click on this import, so by default my branch is selected as master. If you want, you can change your branch if you have multiple branch. Just click on the deployment, and Vercel will start deploying your Django application to its environment. You can click on this building, and over here you can see Django started installing the requirements file. Whatever the requirements libraries for your Django application, it will get installed from that requirement.txt file. Once the installing of requirement is completed, the next step would be the collection of static file, which is from that command of collect static input. Congratulations, we have posted our Django application over the Vercel. So now click on this, or you can directly go to the dashboard as well. So once you go to the dashboard, you will find few more details to see your build logs, to see your runtime logs, and your domain. So once you click on the visit, it will redirect you to your Django. Congratulations to you and me that we did it. Now you can use your Django application, and meanwhile configure the Postgres database. So see, all the tables have been created by the Vercel when it runs the migration command. So now your table has been created, your Django application is ready to be used. You can go with this. Thank you so much for watching this. For more such videos, do like and subscribe my channel. Till then, see you in the next video. Thank you.